Welcome to Money Matters. My name's David Crowell. I am the Senior Loan Officer at Mortgage Network, and Mortgage Network is the largest, most comprehensive mortgage lender in the Low Country area. We come aboard every week in Money Matters to discuss topics of relevance in the local economy, in the national economy, sometimes the world economy. And we have two segments to the show. I'm doing this segment, and today I'm going to be talking about several topics that are in the news. Tariffs, trade wars, subsidies, deficits, all of these highly charged political topics that are really very straightforward economic topics that really can be stripped of their political significance and kind of laid out on the table for you. So let's start with the possibility coming of a genuine trade war. It is initiated by Mr. Trump, by President Trump, and it's part of a campaign pledge that he made to rectify using tariffs, using trade tariffs to rectify what he saw as trade imbalances and trade deficits between the United States and other countries. So let's explore that for a moment. First of all, what's a tariff? A tariff is a tax at the port of entry imposed on goods from another country. So if the United States is importing Mercedes directly from Germany, not the Mercedes that are built here in the United States, this you can immediately see gets very complicated very quickly. But if we're importing Mercedes that are built in Germany and a trade tariff is placed on automobiles from Germany of 20%, then at the port of entry that tax is collected and the cars become 20% more expensive. It's not a food chain cost. It's a government-imposed tax that's collected at the port of entry. In theory, what it does is to contribute a sum of money toward rectifying a trade deficit or trade imbalance between the United States and Germany. We've collected a tax. There's a trade imbalance in Germany's favor. That tax should slightly rectify it. Biggest of all examples is between the second largest economy in the world, which is China. There's a huge trade imbalance between China and the United States, meaning that the United States buys more from China than China buys from the United States. That the Chinese export to the United States, and the United States imports more Chinese-made goods than vice versa, than China imports U.S. goods. So large tariffs are being imposed by the United States on various sectors of Chinese production to correct that trade imbalance. Here's the first of the secondary implications. The moment that a tariff, which is by definition an aggressive and hurtful thing, it's designed to be a hurtful thing. It's not a pleasantry over dinner. It's not a calm, easy conversation. It's designed to be harmful and hurtful. That's a fundamental concept. Tariffs are not friendly. 95% of the time, tariffs are met with counter tariffs, with a tariff from the country that's just been hit, a tariff on a corresponding set of goods and services back at you. So China has responded to the U.S. tariffs. These all went into effect last Friday. Today is Wednesday. The 11th of June is the date that we're recording here, and 11th of July, excuse me. And the tariffs, the first of the tariffs between the United States and China went into effect last Friday, which would have been the 6th of July. So China has responded by saying, fine, you place tariffs on our goods, we'll place tariffs on yours, we'll place tariffs on soybeans, for example. Well, immediately, all of the soybean producing states in the United States are impacted. All of the companies and farms that produce soybeans are immediately impacted. Soybean futures, which is the commercial, the financial market that trades in soybeans, because this is a worldwide food commodity, soybeans are, tumbles. So the bank lines of credit that the farmers get who grow soybeans, those bank lines of credit shrink because the futures price of soybeans shrinks. The action is, and reaction is immediate and consequential, in other words. The government of the United States now, in order to protect and save thousands of farms in the Dakotas and the western states where soybeans are grown, in the Midwest of the country and in the Farm Belt, in order to protect those farms, which will immediately go out of business, because understand, if your entire business is based on the sale of future crops, and the value of that future crop just fell by 50%, then your farm is, and your entire farming operation is immediately underwater. So you've got the action of imposing tariffs on China, the reaction of China imposing tariffs in return, and the consequence, which is a failing farm. Now what do you do about it? Well, you have a subsidy. You have a farm subsidy. So you run to your representatives in Congress and you say, oh my goodness, U.S. trade policy has caused the entire Farm Belt and everyone who grows soybeans to fall underwater. We need a government subsidy for our crop. So the government then steps in and says, fine, we'll pay you a subsidy, a market subsidy in the amount of whatever your soybeans sell for below a certain benchmark. So if the benchmark is $10 per 100 pounds of soybeans, and the futures market is ticking along now at $4.58 per hundredweight of soybeans, then the government guarantees the sale of your crop at the $10, and it comes out of the U.S. Budget, which comes out of the taxpayers, which means that I'm standing here today paying in small part for U.S. trade policy, which began as a tariff against China. So tariff against China, tariff against Germany. There's lots of language being thrown back and forth about tariffs against other countries and other goods. The interesting thing about the tariffs is that all of these tariffs, which are, remember, I describe them as necessarily an aggressive and unfriendly thing to do, because they're intentionally so. I'm not taking a position here. I'm just stating that's what a tariff is designed to do. It's designed to claw back something that's been unjustly taken from you. So the origin of all of this is trade deficits. So it's a political position which is that of most legislators, at least most congressmen, most senators, give lip service at least to the fact that trade deficits are a bad thing. In other words, that on the international stage, if the United States imports more than it exports, then it's in a net deficit position as a trading partner to the rest of the world. Really? In our next segment, which is not today but will be next week, I will explore the whole impact of trade deficits and their impact on us here in Hilton Head and on this whole tariff conversation. Thank you very much. This is David Crowell for Money Matters.